Will he speak? Won't he speak? Will he say? Won't he say? Will he tell? Won't he tell? Will he express? Won't he express? Will he explain? Won't he explain? Will he talk? Won't he talk? Will he chat? Won't he chat? Will he sing? Won't he sing? Will he dance? Won't he dance? Will he lie? Won't he lie? Will he praise? Won't he praise? Will he blame? Won't he blame? Will he call? Won't he call? Will he ask? Won't he ask? Will he teach? Won't he teach? When will he read? When won't he read? When will he scold? When won't he scold? When will he request? When won't he request? When will he convince? When won't he convince? When will he advise? When won't he advise? When will he insult? When won't he insult? When will he question? When won't he question? When will he answer? When won't he answer? When will he think? When won't he think? When will he remember? When won't he remember? When will he remind? When won't he remind? When will he plan? When won't he plan? When will he dream? When won't he dream? When will he believe? When won't he believe? When will he guess? When won't he guess? Where will he concentrate? Where won't he concentrate? Where will he understand? Where won't he understand? Where will he imagine? Where won't he imagine? Where will he forget? Where won't he forget? Where will he practice? Where won't he practice? Where will he neglect? Where won't he neglect? Where will he hope? Where won't he hope? Where will he love? Where won't he love? Where will he hate? Where won't he hate? Where will he like? Where won't he like? Where will he ignore? Where won't he ignore? Where will he disturb? Where won't he disturb? Where will he see? Where won't he see? Where will he look? Where won't he look? Where will he recognize? Where won't he recognize? Why will he watch? Why won't he watch? Why will he find? Why won't he find? Why will he observe? Why won't he observe? Why will he learn? Why won't he learn? Why will he weep? Why won't he weep? Why will he hear? Why won't he hear? Why will he listen? Why won't he listen? Why will he take? Why won't he take? Why will he give? Why won't he give? Why will he bring? Why won't he bring? Why will he do? Why won't he do? Why will he get? Why won't he get? Why will he keep? Why won't he keep? Why will he show? Why won't he show? Why will he send? Why won't he send? What will he buy? What won't he buy? What will he sell? What won't he sell? What will he cook? What won't he cook? What will he make? What won't he make? What will he prepare? What won't he prepare? What will he try? What won't he try? What will he work? What won't he work? What will he write? What won't he write? What will he promise? What won't he promise? What will he start? What won't he start? What will he begin? What won't he begin? What will he complete? What won't he complete? What will he finish? What won't he finish? What will he help? What won't he help? What will he shut? What won't he shut? What will he open? What won't he open? What will he close? What won't he close? What will he put? What won't he put? What will he arrange? What won't he arrange? What will he collect? What won't he collect? How will he fight? How won't he fight? How will he save? How won't he save? How will he search? How won't he search? How will he catch? How won't he catch? How will he punish? How won't he punish? How will he pull? How won't he pull? How will he come? How won't he come? How will he go? How won't he go? How will he leave? How won't he leave? How will he play? How won't he play? How will he push? How won't he push? How will he meet? How won't he meet? How will he use? How won't he use? How will he study? How won't he study? How will he change? How won't he change? How will he cheat? How won't he cheat? How will he lose? How won't he lose? How will he win? How won't he win? How will he achieve? How won't he achieve? How will he fall? How won't he fall?